I want to thank you so much for giving up some time on Saturday night and welcome you to AM 630 and the Fringe Radio Show.
Well, thank you, and I wanted to thank you, too, for having me on. It's my pleasure.
So, tell me, first of all, is it warm down in Vegas this weekend?
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, and, we've had these monsoons.
Yeah.
So we not only have the heat, we've got southern humidity going on here.
So you can't say 110 degrees is a dry heat at this time?
Not at all. I mean, I left Texas because of it. And it followed me.
Wow. I love Las Vegas. I someday I hope to end up down there. I love everything about it, and we travel down there quite often. From Salt Lake, it's only 5.5 hour ride, but I've been watching the weather here. It's been crazy. We've had hailstorms and tons of rain and high humidity. It's been a crazy weather pattern this year.
It really has. This has been the worst summer that I've ever experienced here in Vegas. Really, it's just been dreadful.
Has it been really, really hot, or has it just been the humidity that's been the problem? Because it looks like temperature last year. I was down there we were down there quite a few weekends, and it was 117, 120. I haven't noticed those real high. Has it been that hot, or has it been just more humidity?
Well, we've had it up 110, 112, but with this monsoon season, with the afternoon thunderstorms and everything, when it goes down to like 90-something, we still have all this horrible humidity coming through.
Right.
So, not pleasant.
No, I can imagine. So tell me, you are the director of MUFON for the state of Nevada, and how did you get into this whole thing? If you don't mind, how'd you get into hunting UFOs?
I keep asking myself that question. Well, in my early days, I did a lot of psychic work, and my very first experience with UFOs was in Los Angeles in the 60s.
Okay.
And I was in a 2-story apartment building, and I was coming out carrying a basket of laundry to go downstairs. And I looked up, and there went a UFO, plain as day, right across the sky. And I ran back in, and my husband was in there, and a friend of his, and I said, "There's a UFO out here." And they started laughing and carrying on, crazy woman that she is. And they walked outside, and by then it was gone. But the next day in the newspaper, there it was. People in L.A. see this UFO go across the sky. And that was my very first sighting, and I was really excited about that. But leading up to where we are now, early years I did a lot of psychic work, and I could do remote viewing and long-distance readings. And when I moved up to Montana, I went to Big Fork, Montana, which I really consider my home. Mm-hmm. I'm just crazy. I don't know if you've ever been up there in that area. Oh, the most fabulous country. It's up by Glacier National Park, and it's on the Flathead Lake. And a lady there was opening up a metaphysical center down in Big Fork, and she contacted me and asked if I would like to work there.
Right.
And so I said, yes, I would. And one thing just led to another thing, and that was my life for quite a while, and I loved it until I kind of got burnt out on that end of things. So when I came to Las Vegas here, I've skipped a lot of stuff in through there, but when I came to Las Vegas, I'm now retired, and I thought, well, I need something to do. So I thought I'd see if there was MUFON here, because I've always been interested in the UFOs, too. I mean, everything kind of goes together in my book. And so I joined, And the next thing I knew was, well, I can't just be a member. I have to be a field investigator.
Right.
So I ordered my manual, and I became a field investigator. And there was nothing here in Nevada at the time that was really set up to draw people together. And I thought, that's crazy. We've got Area 51. We've got, all of this going on out here, and there's nothing happening. Well, from that point, as a field investigator, all of a sudden I got promoted to chief investigator. And I went, okay, that was like, I can't spell it, but I are one at this point.
Right.
So then we had a new state director, and he up and decides to go buy a ranch in Arizona. So he says, I'm going to tell them that you're the new state director. I said, okay. Well, I became state director in December. And as they say, I kind of flew by the seat of my pants, and I read the manuals, and I bothered people left and right, finding out what I had to do and how to do it. And I'm really happy to say right now that the MUFON Nevada has 51 members, but my meetup group for MUFON Nevada has 133 members. And we're now getting in speakers like we've had Charles Hall here, Niara Isley's coming in, Grant Cameron's coming in. So, and our people now are getting together once a month, and we're growing, and I'm so thrilled, and I'm looking for people that would like to be field investigators and really join MUFON and get going, because I don't see any reason we can't have one darn good group here.
Oh, exactly. Well, this whole topic, Donna, is so fascinating. I mean, here, as you might have heard, we finally got a director for the state of Utah. For the longest time, I know that there was some political challenges. There was a couple different people here in the state, and I know some things people didn't see eye to eye, but we went for the longest time. Our state director was somebody, I actually interviewed him on the show. I can't think of his name. He's a gentleman based out of Kentucky. He was kind of a contact point, and they actually, as of the 1st of August, Erica Lukes just took over the position, and I know she's somewhat overwhelmed, but it's good to see that there's a place for people who see things or want to report things. There's a central place for them to go and not think that they're crazy.
Absolutely. And how I look at it is, and I've told the group when we start the meetings, this is a safe place. And you can say anything you want to say. You can tell any story you want to tell, and you're not going to be judged. And I won't put up with a bunch of politics because there's no need for it. And you know yourself, Pat, that when you have a group of people, you're always going to get something going on somewhere.
Oh, sure.
And I don't want that. I want it to be a place where, and I've had lots of people come in that sit there and don't say a word. They just look and listen. And I'll ask, would you like to share anything? No. Okay, that's fine. But maybe the third time they come back, all of a sudden their story comes out. Exactly. And they realize, gosh, I'm not alone after all, Yeah. And I've met some incredible people here that, I think it's great.
Well, do you get, being that Las Vegas is so close to Area 51, well, not that close, but it's close enough. I mean, do you get a lot of people that that talk to you about that, or they're out in that area, or people that report stuff, seeing stuff out in that area?
Yes, and Las Vegas, when we do our, we get the sighting reports in. People report in on forums. If they go to MUFON.com, they can report their sightings, and we will get these for Nevada. And Nevada's a hard place to investigate reports because we do have Area 51, which we know they do a lot of experimental planes on. Then we have Nellis Air Force Base, which is always flying something around, and who knows what that could be. And now we've got these drones. Mm-hmm. And I wish they'd outlaw those drones. It would make my life simpler. And also the Chinese lanterns. Drones and Chinese lanterns will drive the UFO investigator nuts.
Oh, I know. And you know what? I believe there. I think there's something. I think they're a very dangerous thing, especially people that they kind of don't realize that you've got this piece of paper flying through the air. And matter of fact, on 4th of July here, some neighbors right behind us on the block behind us, they launched I think about 8 of these things, and of course they were coming over our house very low and rising. Boy, there's one heck of a flame in there. If that ends up setting down in the wrong place, especially as people out here in the Intermountain West, it doesn't take much to light a field on fire.
Well, that's kind of my feeling with it. I've never really heard of one coming down like that. They all seem to go up and do what they're supposed to do, but all it would take would be one time, But there are headaches. But we do get lots of sightings out here, a lot of sightings. And the one that I saw was right out my door here to the west. It just sat there. It was sitting there, and I looked, and I finally hollered for my husband, and I said, "Look at that!" And then it just all of a sudden started to move to the west-south, and just kept going, and then, boom, it was gone.
Right.
And it just grabs your attention big time when you see it.
Right.
Now, was it an actual alien craft? I don't know. Could it have been something of ours? I don't know that either. We have to, my group, we kind of work on our investigations. You have to rule everything out before we can say UFO.
Right.
But to me, UFO is unidentified flying, so whatever.
Sure. So, do you guys? Now, I noticed when I was looking around. Do you have your meetups? You got quite a few members. Do you get a lot of people that? Obviously you get a lot of new members, and if people follow through the MUFON page to report something, obviously for someone who wants to be a hoaxer, they must have to have a lot of time on their hands because there's quite a bit of questions that they've got to go through.
There's some really good hoaxers out there, but you can usually spot them right away. You can spot them by their phone number. You can spot them by their email address, just by the way they answer some of the questions. It's pretty simple once you've been into investigating for quite a while. That old saying, if it looks really, really good, it probably is.
Right. Well, it's really amazing, Donna, that and I've said this to so many people that I've interviewed over the years. We've interviewed is some of these, especially these YouTube videos. If some of these people put the talent that they have into making these hoax videos into something productive, they would really have something. It's amazing to see all the people that just want to create the hoax. It seems like there's a whole community out there that's doing that.
Absolutely. And that's not fair to the general public. We're trying to get the public to be aware, to really be aware, to not be frightened. I hate the word fear. and it seems that so much in this country is run on fear. I won't go where I was going to go, but anyway, if you can get the people afraid, you can get them to do anything.
Sure.
And I hate the Hollywood movies that portray the spacecraft and the aliens as something to be feared. I don't believe that at all. I've met too many people that have met them. Yes, I guess there are bad ones, as they say, here and there, but I don't think in general it's anything to be feared. And why don't they land and stuff? Why should they land when all we do is pull guns out and shoot them? I mean, that's so normal for us.
Right.
But I'm scared that if they did come in, that would be the first thing that would happen.
Yeah, to try to one-up them.
Oh, yeah.
In some way, shape, or form.
And if they can get here from another planet somewhere, how are we going to up them one?
Right, exactly, exactly. Do you think we've had Stephen Bassett on the program. I follow all the disclosure stuff. What's your thoughts on that, Donna, on disclosure? Do you think that's ever going to happen? Do you think we're close? I mean, what's your take?
Oh, yeah, but you know what? I heard somebody talk about disclosure, and it made more sense to me than anything. I think it's already happening. Mm-hmm. Everywhere you look and you hear something today, you see a little bit more of ETs coming out, of crafts flying around. Even commercials are showing ET out there. And, you'll like this. I had a phone call the other night for a Gallup poll. And the woman went the whole beginning with the politics and everything. What did I think of Barack Obama? What did I think of Joe Biden? On and on. What's the most important thing to go on? And then all of a sudden, after we were into this poll for about 4 minutes, she said, "Do you believe in ESP?" I thought, gosh, that's a strange one. And I said, yes. And she says, "Do you believe in God or a higher being?" Yes. And, "Well, do you believe in hell?" And I said, no. "Would you believe in heaven?" And I said, well, no, not really. That pertaining to religion type. And all of a sudden she says, "Do you believe in aliens and angels? And have you ever seen a UFO?" And I'm going, what is all this doing in this Gallup poll?
Right.
I mean, it was weird. Along with all the political questions and everything else, now they want to know what we're all thinking about ETs, UFOs, etc. And I'm thinking, are they getting ready to bring something out or do something else here?
Do you think it's because your connection with MUFON?
I hope not. I hope they didn't know who I was.
Yeah.
I certainly didn't tell them.
Interesting.
I thought, well, is this a Men in Black? They've come for me finally, or what? But they could have been talking to anybody.
Sure. Interesting. Absolutely. Yeah, very, very interesting.
Yeah.
I think, though, the one thing I've said so many times, Donna, I think that people are starting to accept the fact that there is more than just this planet. There are potentially others visiting, and that can be in many various different ways. But I think people are becoming more and more open-minded. Would you agree to that?
Absolutely. Once you can get somebody talking, there's so many different experiences going on out there that people have had. Normal people, sane people, just everybody. And it's something. And I know there's more out there. I don't get ghosts walking through the house. I don't get aliens coming into my bedroom. I don't get any of that. But I know a lot of people that have and believe it wholeheartedly.
Right.
I don't know what I would do. I guess I'd leave the lights on 24/7 or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there's a lot of things going on out there. Everybody's so busy looking down at their iPhones that if they just take the time to look up once in a while, they might really see some interesting things going on.
Well, and is that now I was looking at the meetup groups. You have the Skywatcher group. Is that, do you guys do the star parties or the Skywatcher thing? I know that more and more people are getting out there, and there's a lot of them that are looking up in the sky. I know that we've got some listeners on the East Coast that have actually purchased high-res cameras to take sky shots and to record a lot of different things, and they're actually capturing tons of different items.
Yes, we do. We especially have several that really go out a lot. But groups go out all the time from our meetup group, and they did. When was it? It was about a month ago. They went out here on the desert and did a CE5. Are you familiar with the CE5?
No. Why don't you tell us?
Okay. Stephen Greer. Dr. Stephen Greer, I'm sure you know him.
Yes.
He's the one that came up with the CE5, and that's where we actually contact through meditation. And they went out to the desert, and they were sitting around doing a CE5, and all of a sudden a craft appeared, and they had a laser pointer, and they pointed it up in the sky, and they made a circle with it, and the craft made a circle. They made a triangle with it, and the craft made a triangle. Now, this craft was up pretty high, mind you. This wasn't sitting down here on the earth. It was up. And but they were elated. They were all so thrilled. They're still talking about it.
So does your group meet? I mean, so they actually got this thing to respond?
Absolutely respond.
Is it happen quite often? I mean, is it something that they've been able to? Has it been something that they have been able to have happen several times?
That was the first time they tried it.
Really?
Yes. I believe I was not with them. I wish I had been, but I was not there. And I believe through meditation they called the craft in. Stephen Greer's website, books, and everything, he even has an application for the iPhone, will tell you how to do that. And once the craft appeared, they brought out the laser pointer and tried to see if they could get it to respond, and it did. And I tell you, they're still talking about that one. And I'm sure they'll be back out there as soon as this weather cools down. Give it another shot.
So the group meets pretty regularly?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, they do.
Interesting. How about abductions, Donna? Do you get a lot of people that come to the group and that's something that they want to discuss?
Yes and no. I don't have. Another lady, Nisha Johnston, she has a Starseed group here that is nothing but abductees. And she has done just a fabulous, fabulous job helping people and everything. And we do have people that have come to the group and are in our group that have been abducted, and without a doubt, in their mind, and also listening to them and hearing their stories, I believe them. I believe them wholeheartedly. Now, Niara Isley, who's coming to speak to our group next week. When she was young, she was with the United States Air Force, and she had been an abductee beforehand. You probably know her story. But she was stationed out here at Nellis and was not treated kindly at all, but she was even taken to the moon on a craft here with the Air Force.
Yeah, we had her on the show, and we had her on several months. Well, actually, it was last year, and it was a very interesting interview. She went through quite a bit.
Yes, she did, and then Misha Johnston, who I said has the Starseed group, she has been an abductee her entire life from the time she was a little girl. But hers were bad also, up to a point. But then another lady here in town has been abducted, and all of her experiences were wonderful. It's like she was friends with them. There was nothing bad about her abductions at all. So she says, I can't sit here and say that all alien abductions are terrible.
Right. Well, and the other thing is, again, this is just through, I'm not a ufologist by any means, but just through my research and listening to different people talk, I think the one thing that we hear all the time is, the people that are abducted by the Greys, if you will, perform these experiments, and if this is really going on, I think a lot of them are just researchers that are, maybe they don't have the human compassion, the human compassion, if you will, but not necessarily there to harm. They're just there to do a job and serve a purpose.
Well, that's it exactly. The little Greys, I think they have figured out, are like just little mechanical robots. The tall Greys are the ones you can communicate with. And are a little bit more understanding. There's lots of theories on what's going on with the abductions and the experiments. Some say it's because their own people are dying out, and they're trying to get their race, built back up. They want hybrid. I mean, everybody's got a theory, but it's like, who knows for sure?
Yeah.
Unless it's the government, because they say, that the government's working with them, or they're working with the government, et cetera, that Eisenhower brought them in. I've learned so much, it's just made my head spin. And I go, gosh, have we really been living in this bubble all this time, and all of this is really going on, or isn't it? It's kind of, I don't know, Pat, how to even explain it. Can it really all be that true?
I don't know.
I know. You've probably read the same things I have. I mean, you've got Dulcie, and as you learn more and read more and you pick up, and then all of a sudden it's like you hear this person talking about it and that person, and you go, well, am I the only dummy in the world that didn't know about this?
Right. No, I know. But that's the good thing, at least with what you're doing and your group is doing, is it's building awareness and trying to take the misnomers out and
right.
And bring a little bit of truth to it and understanding. Because when people don't understand, that's when they seem to just draw their own conclusions.
Well, that's true, and I mean, you can take anything and run with it and make what you want of it. And I don't know. I don't know what they're here for, truthfully. I'm not even 100% sure that they are here.
Right.
But I think they are. But as far as knowing, until I have one walk in my door, I don't know for sure.
Yeah.
But then there's a lot of people they have walked in their doors and they know. So.
Yeah, I know. I know. It's just about educating people, and that's the biggest thing is to is to educate them properly. How many reports are you guys getting in Nevada? How many? It seems like, now I could be wrong on this, but are the numbers dropping a little bit, Donna, or are they going up?
Right now they're going up. Last month I think they got in 18 reports. That's a lot of reports for here.
Now, when you receive them, when you get them, do you forward those on to MUFON?
No. MUFON receives them and then forwards them on to me.
Okay.
And then I assign them to a field investigator to check them out. But right now we're so backed up with reports. I need some really good field investigators.
So what's the job of a field investigator?
Well, he's assigned a report, and he contacts the people that turned the report in, and then uses his skills and interviews and everything to try to figure out what it was that they saw.
Yeah.
Basically, I mean, just does an investigation on it. You can go out to the person's house where they had the sighting. Most of the time with the reports, it can be done over the phone. So I've been out to, I think, 4 homes where they had the sighting and stuff.
So then when people fill out the paperwork on the main MUFON site, then it gets channeled over to you guys?
Yes, if it's for Nevada. Mm-hmm.
Do some people have pictures in that too?
Oh, absolutely. And movies.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah. There's some good stuff out there.
Does MUFON, or do you share that, or is it kind of put away in a file at least for a while?
No, it's on the MUFON website.
Okay.
There's a whole database there, and every day they'll have the newest 20 reports listed for clear across the country and sometimes out of the country. And if there's photographs or video with it, that's available there too.
So it's available for people to. Now, is that going? Is it? Can you see that after it's gone through its? Does it have to go through the full investigation process first?
No, No, you see it just as it's reported in.
Gotcha. Interesting. Very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I thought for sure that it would have to go through. So what's
the parts you're going to see, though? You're not going to get the person's name with the sighting or anything.
Yeah, exactly. Is MUFON growing in numbers?
I believe it is. I think they're back on track. Our new executive director, Jan Harson, he's really doing a fabulous job to get it going back. And, we've got the new TV program, Hangar One, which was terrific last year. Really good. So, and they're bringing a lot of awareness out, too.
Well, again, and trying to educate people. That's the biggest thing.
Right.
Is just trying to. So what cases have you been on? If you could share a few with us, what have been some of the interesting ones for you? Well,
I've got one now. I don't think I'll ever get it put to bed. I don't know, but I have a gentleman that he has contact, and he's just kind of really being put through the ringer most nights. But then again, I don't know for sure what everything is all the time. I think some are real, some aren't at this point in time. And then I had another case out in Pahrump that was really good, where they had they had 4 of them come over and just kind of hover around up there. And then we had another one out west of town here where they saw this fireball come down and crash into like red rocks up there. And they jumped in the car, and when they got up there, there were police blocking the road. And they said, you can't go up there. And they said, well, we saw something crash. They said, no, there's nothing there. Go home.
Wow.
Yeah. And then another car went up, and they were told, there's nothing to see. Go home.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, and then we have I've had 2 good fights with witnesses that were Chinese lanterns. And I thought one guy was literally going to come through the phone at me.
Really?
Yes.
Didn't believe it was a piece of tissue paper, huh?
No way, no how. No.
Well, he thought it was obviously he thought it was the real thing.
Well, I guess it could be if he wanted it to be whatever he wants.
Well, one thing that I seem to notice, Donna, and maybe you'd agree with on this, I think there's a lot of people that they don't necessarily think they're not necessarily trying to do something bad, but I think there's a lot of them that it's kind of what I call, it's just wishful thinking. They believe in it so much, you know what I mean? They want to will it to be true.
Well, that's true. I had a gentleman turn in a report, and I tried to contact him, and I couldn't reach them. And so I told him I was going to have to close his case out. I sent him an email, and he sent me back an email and said that he said, I'm so sorry, we've been out of town, et cetera, et cetera. He said, my wife and sister-in-law explained to me that what I saw was a satellite. So he was done. So I wrote back to him, and I said, thank you for letting me know. I said, but I had checked my satellite databases on your case, because we go in and we rule out rockets and satellites and airplanes and things like that. And I said I had checked, and at that particular time, there were no satellites in your area. Well, he wrote back and said, I told him so. So I verified it was not a satellite for him.
Well, there's plenty of those that go overhead, you know.
Oh, yes. Yeah, it's very busy up there. Very, very busy up there. And when we do our reports and our investigating, I use Heavens Above satellite database, and we check for satellites and the space station and everything to see where they are at that particular moment, because a lot of people do see those things and report it as something, but unfortunately that wasn't his case that time.
Right.
But no, I think that I would love to have a great big one come out here and just hover. That would make my day beyond belief. Now, they do say that out at Area 51, they do have some out there that are alien, and they also have some that are ours. So whether we've been able to make them or not, I don't know.
Right.
But it seems to me like if Niara went to the moon, that they've certainly got something that goes to the moon, and they say that we have bases on the moon and bases on Mars. As far-fetched as that sounds, like I said, am I the only one that didn't know this? But there's a lot of people that seem to think that and believe that.
Well, you know, I think a lot of these people that get the opportunity to experience these different things, Donna, I mean, again, I think there's some hoaxers out there. Maybe there's some that'll write a book or two and make a buck or two off of it, but there's so many credible people that something has happened to them. And I know with Niara, when I talked with her, she said the worst part of her experience was what they called the Me Lab. After she went through everything, then had actual government interrogation.
Yes.
You know, so it was almost being used as a guinea pig. I had her on she was on the program for a couple hours and told her story, and it was you had a feel for the lady. It was just a horrific thing. Betrayal, you know.
Unbelievable. That's what Nisha Johnston went through, too, with the Mirab, you know, being abducted in the middle of the night and taken to different places. You know, and they tell it just as plain as day and like it happened to them. And the one thing that gets me, Pat, is when you listen to all these people on the abductions, things like that, you can talk to somebody here, you can talk to somebody in South America, over in China, wherever. They all will tell the exact same story, and yet they've never met one another and, you know nothing about it.
Right. It's got to be a little more than coincidence. One of the questions that the listeners sent in, it said, Donna, does the military or security forces ever express an interest in info that MUFON gathers on particular cases? Have you ever had anybody from the military or law enforcement contact you?
No, I have not. Not me personally. But I did call. In fact, I was absolutely shocked. I called Nellis Air Force Base one day because I had a sighting out here, and I wanted to know if it was one of their planes or something. They do a lot of red flag squadron stuff around here, too. And the gentleman I got on the phone, I don't even know what his classification was. I told him who I was, and I said I wanted to know if you had anything flying at this particular time at such and such a longitude and latitude. And he said, ma'am, I'll call you back. I said, okay, thank you. And by golly, he called me back the next day. And he said, no, ma'am, we had nothing flying at that time. They weren't ours.
Interesting. Very interesting.
I was shocked. I mean, I was really shocked.
Yeah.
So,
very, very interesting. Lot of stuff going on out there, Donna.
There really is. There really is. And I enjoy it so much, and I do enjoy the people, and I enjoy the guest speakers. But like everything, I think you got to take a lot of it with a grain of salt and keep your head on your shoulders and not be afraid. That's the one thing, the fear factor. Build it all up as fear.
Right.
You know.
Well, it's when you do that, then it's easy to punch holes in it. You know what I mean? It's easy for the debunkers to get out.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot of debunkers. You can say anything, and then the debunkers start. You know, and it's like, who is paying you people?
Yeah. Oh, I know. There's plenty of them out there, without a doubt.
Oh, absolutely. And they will take, like, you were talking about Stephen Bassett. When they had the big, before Congress, the mock Congress, the disclosure. I watched that for both days that it was on, and I thought it was fabulous. And the one thing that made me so upset was they got no coverage on it, hardly at all. And then the debunkers came out. And I thought, how dare they? You know, and they started to pick on Paul Hellyer and call him just a lunatic old man, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm going, you know, there's got to be a lot more to this to have these people wasting their time like that.
Well, the thing that we had here, we had one of the House representatives. I can't think his name. My age is setting in tonight. I'm having a
I know. I do that all the time.
A blonde moment. No, but we actually had some people here from Utah who've been in politics for many years go out, and the big thing that they were amazed to hear was how like the VA has all these airmen, a lot of these people in the military that reported different things over the years. Anyone that reported anything out of the ordinary, their records were sealed and put away, and the medical records were sealed from their psychiatric evaluations. That should all be, these people should be able to have access to this, and they can't.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, if there's nothing there, if it's, nothing, how come the pilots for the longest time couldn't report it and everything?
Right, exactly.
I mean, why are they hiding it? That's what I want to know, is what is to hide? So we've got other craft out there flying around. Who cares? It's been there forever. You can see it in ancient drawings. You can see it on the caves. Doesn't anybody watch Ancient Aliens? I mean, the only ones that are looking bad, hiding everything, is the government.
Right.
I shouldn't even put an S on that. It's our government, because everybody else is coming forward with disclosure now.
I totally agree. I don't know what the big deal is about not open, about not being a little bit more open with it. But for whatever reason, that's how it is. And I guess all we can do is just keep pushing forward, and people just keep constantly talking about it, and groups like yourself, MUFON, and organizations like your meetups and that. That's, again, it's about educating everybody. Right.
But I think that the disclosure's out there working already. I really do. And I think you're going to see a lot of people, because especially the younger people. I was talking to, some of my grandkids. Oh, they have no problem with it whatsoever,
Yeah. We've got an NBC News break coming up. You feel like sticking around for a little longer on the other side?
Sure, I can do that if you want me to.
Oh, I'd love to. Maybe we'll go for another half hour or so on the other side. Our guest tonight is Donna Carbone. She is the Nevada director of MUFON, and we're honored to have her tonight and talk about different things. And want to ask her about her being an extra on your notes that you sent me.